we start with so all of you have been assigned like a small, very austere cell. There's this plaza that is carved into the stone, and then there's like a road or like a path that leads deeper into the mountain with doors to both sides. And behind these doors, there are these monk-like cells. Very simple. The bed is also carved into the stone. There's like a rough blanket for you. And maybe in terms of introducing our characters, how like what do we see when you lay down? Do you pray? Do you clean your weapons? What does it look like? And we start in the character keeper. See to the left. So Satrap 88. You're in this stony village high in the mountains. You're in this austere monk cell. There's maybe just a candle illuminating this super small room. So what do you do before you go to bed? Is there like a certain routine you go through?
Yeah, so the satraps are made of light, and their suits are sort of what contains them. So I imagine Satrap 88 spend some time kind of grooming their suit, just make sure it's all clean, since it's not like they get out of the suit. And one of the things that's embedded in the suit is an endosymbiont. In this case, it's Satrap 88's crystal snail. For the last 2 sessions that I've been present at, they've had their other slot or their other miracle activated, the light magic. And I think Satrap 88 is starting to feel a little lost and confused, since they're on a mission to find their soul. So they take steps to kind of what would mechanically be deactivating the light magic and activating the crystal snail. And I think that's kind of a combination of sort of handling the snail as it's embedded in the suit and singing to it. Oh, and also because they are made of light and their language is light, they kind of flash different things in their fishbowl helmet.
And is there like a visual representation of the crystal snail, or is it just is it inside of the suit and inside of you?
That's a great question. I sort of imagined it sewn into the suit. So it's a gold suit with sort of purple blazes all over it, and maybe one of the purple blazes is distinctly shaped, and there's sort of like a little lump, and the crystal snail is in there. So it's sort of activating it entails kind of stroking it, activating the lights, things like that.
Yeah, and I think that the purple blaze starts pulsating when you contact it.
This thing is going to whisper to me. I don't know when or how, but that's sort of what it does. Hazy vision of the future.
Nice. Yeah, I think so. Do you lie down when you sleep?
Yeah, I think there's sort of this element of things that have souls lay down when they sleep. So in an effort to sort of emulate that, I do lay down in the cell to sleep.
And we see that, like we hear from outside of the room, the wind howling through this path. And it's relatively cold. Probably your suit, shields you from the cold. But we move over to the next room in which Ned Mordecai, the Cockflower lawyer, and how do you prepare for the night?
Well, he first thing they will do is they're going to take off their linen suit and clean it and press it and make sure it's all looking good and everything because appearance is everything. Then they're going to play with their vole a bit and make it laugh.
Yeah, it definitely giggles.
Giggle, yes, and figure out what to do with the chicken. And Casey, since I've got this menagerie following me around now, apparently.
Well, oh, that's a good question. Where's Casey? I think that the room is like the bed is really, really narrow and small. And I'm not sure if you are comfortable with sharing your bed with an amygdaloid.
It sounds like that would be pretty rough, actually, since they probably have a shell.
Yeah, I
If
think
they're
that
if they're
before,
armadilloid, I would suspect it would just kind of roll itself up into a ball,
yes, it
like real
does.
armadillos do.
Yeah. So he rolls to a ball on the at your feet, but then lying on the ground.
Okay, and I will read the annual reports from the High Prophet to relax myself before I go to sleep.
On the summary of profits and everything, there's also a small attachment of it's attached by the Cockflower Inquisition, and there's a list of 4 or 5 people that they are looking for, that they're wanted for crimes.
Okay. Do I
Um,
recognize any of them?
you don't recognize any of them.
Okay, I'll just make a mental note of that then.
And last but not least, neither you actually wake up after you had this like visions of the dead accusing you of betraying them or mistreating them, and you wake up in your in the cell. Do you stay up? How do you deal with the nightmares?
Same way I deal with everything else, attending to my weapons. I've sharpened my daggers. I've sharpened my sword and honed it and cleaned it. And last, not least, I'm attuning my rifle. I figure Ajax didn't sign up for a war. So Ajax can stay in the village, and I'll retrieve Ajax when we come back. Assuming, of course, that we do come back through the village. The people we've met don't seem like they would try to take my cat. But
no.
This
And
is... Go ahead.
Ajax will definitely prefer to stay in the village than to fight in a psychic war.
I figured as much. But this is why I'm attuning my rifle. One well-placed shot can end a war. It's funny how that happens. You take out the biggest or the baddest, you can completely demoralize an enemy force, and you don't have to kill more. That sniper rifle isn't a weapon of war. It's a tool of peace. Usually, you just have to take out the biggest asshole. And it's amazing how quickly that prompts negotiation.
Although you're unsure who or what you will fighting, and you have seen the casualties of war that ripped off mountaintops. So not sure if a single shot will end this. But in any case,
maybe it takes two.
Maybe it takes two. So after you cleaned your weapons, you readjusted the scope. At some point, and we hear from outside the howling of the wind, and it really gets cold. And do you at some point lie down to sleep, or do you prepare for the next day?
I'm meditating.
So from go on.
I was going to say the weird thing is, Nida doesn't realize this, but if somebody had happened to look in, they would have seen it. She has her legs folded into the full lotus position, and she's actually floating about an inch and a half off the floor. Not much, just the tiniest bit, like enough that you could move your hand between her and the floor and not touch either.
And obviously, Ajax uses the space to crawl under you, because that's what cats do, crawling in tight spaces.
Yeah, especially where it's dangerous for them. Or could
but your meditation drifts off, and you do fall asleep, albeit in a very uneasy sleep. And one of the dead visit you again, and it's the one that you have the most regrets about, something that you did wrong in the past and you wished you didn't. Who is it?
That would be Layla. She was a Yellow Lander who didn't believe in what was coming. And as I was leaving, she begged me to stay, told me I was wrong, it couldn't be that bad, things would be okay. And I begged her to come with me. And she refused. She didn't want to leave what she knew as home. So I left. And I left her there. I mean, she made a choice, but that doesn't mean that when it gets dark and I'm still awake and I can't sleep, I still miss her.
So I think Lila, in your dreams, stands before you, and she has how did she die? She died either violently or as a direct consequence of staying behind. How did she die, and how can we see that on her?
The sunlight, it became something. It turned into something like poison, okay? And it blistered skin, it cracked skin, it sucked the moisture out of everything. And it happened slowly enough that people could pretend it wasn't happening. And so they didn't believe it until it was too late. And by that point, well, the deaths were neither quick nor easy.
So she stands before you in the room, and you don't know if you're sleeping or if you're awake and she's actually there. But we see her red and dried up and blistered face, and she stands there for a while without saying anything, just watching, like looking at you.
Did you just come to guilt me some more?
You know that freedom is a funny thing. The freedom to make stupid choices. Sometimes you just need a kick in the ass, and you were not, I don't know what, you were not there for me. Why?
Funny thing about freedom, it's not a kick in the ass. It just means you've lost everything and don't have any fears remaining. Attachment to people, to places, to things. The fear of losing where you live, who you love, what you value. When you lose that fear, nothing can hurt you, not in any way that matters. I left you because I saw what was coming, and I tried to tell you, but you wouldn't listen. And by not listening, you liberated me. And I fucking hate it.
And for the rest of the night, she will stand there and not say anything. And while the wind is howling outside. And the next morning, you all wake up by the sound that's coming from the plaza. People seem to prepare for the return of the warriors. And so I don't know. At some stage, you will probably leave your room, and you will see that the villagers, the elders, they're all like really old, in their 70s or older. And you can see at their robes that they come from different tribes. You've met the Ash Whites with lighter robes, and some of them wearing antlers. But there are other tribes as well, members of other tribes, and they decorate the plaza in a way to welcome the warriors who return. I don't know who would get up first. Ned, maybe? I don't know. Ned or Cedric. But I think that neither wakes up probably later and less, in a worse shape than the others. So is Ned an early riser?
Well, I suppose, especially with the whole menagerie in the
Yeah, exactly. The chicken will obviously start making noises when the first sun comes out.
Yes. So I guess I'll start getting my stuff together. I'll go out and find. Is there a breakfast place in this town?
So
I need
nobody
coffee.
nobody brought breakfast to your bed, unfortunately.
I'm
But there
out
are,
in search of coffee.
yes. So what you will find is definitely you will find Solbeck, who is the the village matriarch, and she's standing next to her, outside her room, overseeing the preparations for the celebrations, and she has a mug in her hands with definitely tea.
Tea, okay. Blessings of the prophet upon you.
Good morning.
Where may I find a place where I can find coffee, the traditional morning drink?
Unfortunately, we don't have coffee, but I can fix your tea if you will.
Thank you.
And so next probably is Setrop 88, and you like when you wake up, you definitely feel connected to the snail. So it is activated, and if you now want to meditate to get some kind of vision about the future, you could do that, or you could do it later on.
I think I'll hold off. And I think it's sort of there's sort of a constant low level whispering, which is why I don't keep it activated the whole time, which I find distracting and maybe makes me a little bit more disconnected from the rest of the world. But I wake up and I go in search of my companions. I don't know that Sandraps eat or drink. Really, I can't remember what we decided about that, but
You do smoke, and that is I remember.
I think I've got a space for that. Anyway, I'll also go in search of a cafe.
Yeah, and I think you meet Zolbeck and Ned standing on the plaza drinking tea. Yeah, and Nida, I think you wake up by Ajax licking your face.
Oh, please. Ajax is a cat. You know damn well he bit my hand because he was hungry.
And Ajax says mentally, also that, but you had nightmares.
You mean besides a cat?
So when do we eat?
Fine. Let's go see if we can find something.
Okay, and so the three heroes are reunited again. And I have a question for Ned. So how do the villagers decorate the plaza? So what do we see that reminds us that this is a welcoming warriors back from some kind of dream battle or mind battle?
Well, they have all their shutters and windows open, indicating that they're welcoming everyone in. The gates are wide open, showing that they don't have to worry about having walls or anything up because their warriors are coming back and they won't be able to defend them and they won't have to do anything. And everybody's in bright colored clothing because they don't have to hide anymore again, and there will be a lot of music, a lot of I don't want to quite say drum and bugle, but a lot of not martial music. It's they're not trying to do the warrior thing. They're trying to do the more festive, uplifting music. So it's not the drums and bugles. It's all like flutes and lutes and higher pitched things with everyone all indicating that yes, we are happy again.
And I think Vigo has joined the flutists at least, and tries to to find a common melody or to blend in musically. And a fire is prepared, and while you're standing there sipping your tea, and Ajax is eating whatever Zolbeck prepared for him. You see, so there's the mountain road that comes from the plains, and then there's another road leading up to the top of the mountain. Again, a windy, like serpentine road. And you can see now a group of like really old people. They look pretty much exactly like the villagers, walking down this mountain path. And so they're dressed in. They don't have the colorful clothes. They're dressed in like simple linen robes. And they seem to be in a more meditative mood. There's one figure in the back who wears a mask, and when the group comes closer, the villagers stand on both sides of the plaza, welcoming them in. And then something weird happens. It's as if there's like a wave emanating from the last figure, the figure with a mask, and it goes from person to person in the group of warriors who march down. And you can see that there's this weird expression of almost ecstasy. So they stop whatever they're doing, talking or walking. Their expression changes completely, and then it is switched off again, and it goes to the next person. And this chain or this wave goes through the approaching warriors and then ends at Zolbeck. And there's like a shudder going through her, and then she says in a different voice, "I have returned."
We're all standing around Solbeck, right?
Yeah.
All right. So I said, "Are you okay?"
It was a long fight, and the warriors are tired, and no other than sorry, how do you say that? No more than Narlock, who I rode as gently as I could. And then the other warriors come, and people mingle, and the person in the mask joins you, and he grabs the hands of Zolbeck, and he whispers something in her ears, and then he turns to you three, and he says, "I'm Norlock. I'm Narlock, sorry, the patriarch of this village. I welcome you, and I hope that you will be fresh warriors in the war." He says that in the direction of Nida.
That's why I came here. Legion of the Farsight said that you were seeking allies and people who would fight for you.
And we need you. It's the the fighting is becoming more and more intense, and our elders, they do their best, but once in a while we need fresh blood.
Every war needs fresh blood.
And he turns to Satrap 88. A satrap has not joined us before. I'm surprised.
I am on a journey, and I don't know where that journey will take me. And I welcome new challenges, as it may help me achieve my ultimate goal. And if destiny has brought me here to help with your war, then I too will do my best to fight in it, though I'm not much of a fighter. I noticed a change in Solbeck when you arrived. Can you help me understand what happened to her?
Every village is organized by what you would call a ghost. And the ghost of this village is a fierce fighter called Dust Scorpion. And Zolbeck will join the war, and Dust Scorpion will ride her together with the other warriors.
So when Solbeck speaks now, does she speak as the Dust Scorpion?
Yes.
What happens to Solbeck herself? Is she still in there?
It's difficult. You're still there, and you experience everything that her body tells her. But she is, I am, when I fight, more like a passenger in a wagon than the one steering it.
That sounds scary.
It's war.
Do you not feel a lack of control?
Well, to be honest, this is what you would sign up for. The lack of control.
So the Dust Scorpion, would the Dust Scorpion inhabit all of us who are going to war?
Yes. The general will give the orders, and the officers will perform whatever is asked of them.
Well, now I'm even more curious to join your war. Have any satraps ever passed by here before?
No.
Hmm.
The satraps are curious beings, and the ultras, or what you would call ghosts, regard you with awe because of the lack of soul.
Thank you for the information. I need to prepare for this war. I think Satrap 88 is keen to back up their personality, but needs a special crystal a great prismatic crystal to do so.
Mhm.
So let me ask that. Narlock, are you familiar with any crystals that might be nearby?
There are places in the mountain, but they are like a day's journey away. I can send someone. They wouldn't be able to join the celebrations, but there's a little bit of life left in them.
That's okay. You don't have to do that for me. I need to meditate on what to do, but you can count on me for your war.
Thank you. And then Narlock turns to Ned, and he cocks his head a little bit. A priest from the Emerald City. I welcome you.
It is always an honor to be one of the first to explore a new market.
I think Narlock laughs. There's not much in terms of profit, I guess. But if you want to,
The Great Circle touches all of us. We are all part of it. The ever rising circle.
and Narlock looks around. I almost feel guilty that I have nothing that, in terms of money, I know that this is holy for you. But please try out our synthetic alcohol. It's the best, and you don't get an hangover, which is an added benefit. But you get drunk.
I will be sure to examine your product and test it thoroughly.
And just as he says that barrels of alcohol are rolled onto the plaza under the jubilous screams of the villagers, and the music starts playing for real now. People are dancing. I'm sitting around the fire, and the celebrations begin. I guess that Satrap is going into their room to meditate, or do you take part in the celebrations?
I'm going to go meditate and ask the snail about the outcome of the war.
Cool. And the others, will they join the celebrations?
It's custom.
I'll go down and join. I have to check out this synthahol of theirs anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yellowlanders get really good at observing other people's customs and respecting them because we have to. I mean, it's how you survive when you're a nomad. So,
yeah, what you would see is so there's two groups. The groups that arrived, and they are they are quiet and they look exhausted. And then for every warrior who returned, there's a villager who stayed back, and it looks as if they meet in these doublets in groups of two always. But even the ones that are quiet and exhausted, they do drink their synthetic alcohol in. They don't what's it called, hold back. And Ned, when you try out the synthetic alcohol, it tastes like nothing. It literally tastes like nothing, and you get a pretty quick buzz after a glass. And you see that they have like huge amounts of it. Okay, so let's see what how the meditation goes. So I think, do you go back to your room?
Yeah, I feel like I need a quiet place because I'm going to try and tune out all the other ambient noise and really just sort of concentrate on the low-level whispering that the snail feeds me. And the way I commune with the snail is I shift the patterns of my lights to try and get the snail to talk very specifically about the event that I'm interested in. And so I use a pattern to kind of describe this upcoming war and my companions and some of the people that I met to try and understand what the outcomes would be.
So I think that the snail starts pulsating in the same rhythm that you send your signals,
Okay.
like mirroring the input, so to speak. And then, so you see the following. You want to have the outcome of the war. Is that the question? Not of the battle.
Yeah. And I can roll for this if you prefer.
Yeah, so I think because this is a long, the snail has to look into the far into the future. I mean, it's also you phrased it as a hazy vision of the future. So the more clearly you want a picture, the more it will cost.
Yeah, mostly I want to know, am I going to be okay? I don't remember how the cost stuff works. What does that mean?
Yeah, so casting a miracle is paid for in blood, if you will.
Right.
So it costs HP.
I only have
And
HP.
And so for like a clear vision of how the war ends, I think that is a major miracle. Let's see, that would cost you, let's say, a D6 plus 2.
I'd be dead.
And you're not allowed to cast miracles that would kill you. I think for a like a symbolic, also you can reduce the cost always by, for example, you could say, well, it takes the whole day, for example, or I need to use up some kind of resource. That could reduce the cost.
Yeah, I mean, I don't, at this point, all I'm curious about is any sort of hint as to whether I will survive this war.
Oh, okay.
And so any hint, and I'm used to sort of having to interpret the ravings of the snail. I will sit all day in my room.
Cool. So you get the following picture in your head. You are obviously alive in the room looks like, it looks a bit like a night launch in the 1970s. There's these egg-shaped white chairs with a red inside. And there's on the walls there are it's like a library of crystals, and somebody another satrap turns to you. You're sitting in the egg-shaped chair, and the satrap says, "We can make a copy, and a fail-safe. It won't be cheap, but you don't want to be erased."
I take that as not a great sign. But I got the answer that I was seeking. So I think I'm going to seek out Nida. And I'm going to say, I want to ask her about training to help me make sure I see it through the end. I know I have a backup of myself, but that backup is back at the Violet City, and it's before all of this happened. So if I'm going to go to that backup, I'm not going to remember what progress I've made. And I don't want to go back to that version myself.
So I have a question for Nida. When a Satrap 88 returns after a day of meditation, in what state will they find you?
Probably with bags the size of supply sacks under my eyes. I mean, honestly, who needs sleep, right? I mean, it's just like howling visions of the dead. I mean, come on. Sleep. I'll sleep when I'm dead, which, could be 5 minutes from now.
And the synthahol, did you try it?
I have learned over the years that keeping a clear head is often a bit better than trying to figure out which target I'm actually aiming at. I don't like having to aim at the target in the middle.
So the other warriors don't seem to care. So the future warriors for the next day, the villagers who stayed behind for the last excursion, they are all drunk by the time Satrap 88 returns. But yeah, so Nida is sitting there with, and she looks tired.
I'm giving Ajax some scritches.
I say to Nida, have you enjoyed the celebration?
Does anyone ever really enjoy anything? Or do they just convince themselves that they do so that things don't seem quite so...
Satrap 88 doesn't really understand what that means. So they go right to, I'm concerned about what's going to transpire with this battle. I mean, the Dust Scorpion seems to know what they're doing, but I have never really been much for battling.
Have you ever been in a battle?
Well, I survived the mean streets of the Violet City, but mostly I could just scare people with my light show. So I've got this staff that I have used, but I would not say that I'm especially strong fighter. And I wondered if you might show me a few things to make sure I come out of this battle intact.
That's a lot of words for no. Okay. The short version is, yes, I can absolutely help you. The longer version is that the things that will help you make it through the battle are not necessarily the things that will help you win the battle. Survival and victory are often two different things.
I told Narlock I would participate. I didn't make any promises that I would help him win.
Okay. All right. In that case, you might be best served and might best help people by dragging, and I'm assuming that we will be fighting a conventional battle. If it is an unconventional battle, virtually everything that I am telling you now could be thrown out the window.
Okay.
But what would likely be the most help to myself, to Nat, to everyone around, given, shall we say, given your desire to learn about battles, the thing that might be the most help for all of us is if someone gets shot, if someone goes down in combat, drag them into cover. Make it harder for them to die. Put pressure on wounds. Make sure they don't bleed out.
I was a healer for the shantytown, and I learned quite a few tricks when we were on the rolling village from that healer there. So if you think I should hang back and heal, that is something I can do.
Battles can be won and lost on the strength of a medic, on the strength of somebody who can hit warriors with stimulants, with shots of adrenaline, who can make sure they don't bleed out, who can make sure that they don't die from wounds. There are lots of people who can pull a trigger or swing a sword. There are not many who can make sure that those swinging swords and pulling triggers stay alive to continue doing so. And it lets you stay in cover. It's a whole lot harder to die. You're asking me how to survive this. If you stay in cover, it's a whole lot harder to die.
Well, that was a whole lot of words for stay out of the way.
Not stay out of the way. It's a whole lot of words for, yes, you can help. Yes, you can survive. Here's how to do it.
All right. Thank you for the advice.
Well, considering that you're the one who's going to be keeping us alive, or at least one of the people going to be keeping us alive, I should be thanking you. So, see you out there.
I think I need to go back and meditate and switch my miracles again. So,
Yeah.
actually, that's not necessarily true. My other miracle is light magic. So the healing is more traditional, I guess. It's not with miracles or magic. So,
Yeah, you do have like poultices and herbs and so forth. How's Ned celebrating?
Well, that's how am I getting along with my synthahol here?
Great. It's the good stuff. It's as I said, it's not for people who like to like. I think it speaks to you in the efficiency of what it wants to achieve and how it achieves it. So you don't promise to not get a hangover the next day. It doesn't taste like nothing, but it also makes you drunk as hell.
Oh God, I'm gonna wind up with another chicken earning.
Might be.
No, I imagine Nat will be out mingling with the crowds, just trying to do the glad handing thing, the meet and mingle type mixer.
Yeah, you're a bit of an like you do feel a bit of an outsider. Like every time you go to a group in order to mingle, there seems something connecting these people that is beyond your reach. It's not that they're unfriendly or anything. They talk to you, although in a very quiet, almost unnerving way. But there seems to be some kind of distance remaining always.
Hmm.
But Casey is following you around wherever you go,
I'm
and
sure.
she's trying to hold your hand or petting you. And he's a bit he's like a lot smaller than you, so it's you know he has to extend his hands to hold yours.
Yeah. Well, I'm just looking at Nadia's note. Um, yeah. Nat's fine with that. It doesn't bother them. Nat's open minded about these things. So we'll have Casey around. Maybe Casey can help do some little break some of the ice too. Actually, I'm gonna try be working on communicating with Casey more because we don't really know each other's language that well. So
Yeah, I think so. Casey's also drinking the synthahol, and as always with alcohol, it does help communicating. So you're less afraid of making mistakes, and you can connect on a nonverbal level. I think you get like a couple of hand gestures and some of the sounds that he makes. So that you get like a very basic understanding.
okay, but I'm
Oh,
not really getting. But on my mingling, I'm not really getting anything. It's just they're being friendly but standoffish. Is that it?
yeah. So it depends on what you like. If you do small, they don't do small talk really. Um, it seems to be alien to them. Um, but if you want anything from them, then they will be like very open-minded about it.
I will see if I can talk about setting up some sort of trade agreements for the synthahol.
So you talk to somebody who is well, he wears like a copper wire around his head, like a crown or something, with adorned with some feathers. And he says that he's the brewer and that he cannot imagine for the life of him that all the barrels will be gone by tomorrow. And if you do want to acquire, he can reserve two of the barrels for you, and they would come at a price of, let's see, 50 cash a sec or a barrel.
Okay, let me. What's our supply at this point? Yeah, we've only got 58 in the till right now if we don't sell something.
Horst, didn't you say at one point that we can actually loan the caravan money from our personal funds?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, we can always spend our own money, but wrong screen. But yeah, I don't have that much myself right now.
Well, if you and I pool our money, then that'll get us 2 barrels, and it'll leave us enough left over in caravan funds to buy supplies.
I think we've already bought the next set of supplies.
I'm just saying, it leaves us with 58, I believe it is, in
We
our
have
caravan
58
funds.
right now, and we could. And like I said, I think we've already got our supplies. If each of us dumped in enough to get enough, well, I guess we could do that. Do we have carrying capacity? Do we have carrying capacity for that? Because we've got 6 sacks of crystals and 5 sacks of supplies. It's 11,
And we have 1 sack of saffron, which.
Oh yeah, the saffron came back. So that's actually we're actually full right now. We have
Okay. Horst, if like Nat or I carry one of the sacks as we walk, does that take the load off of the carriage?
Yeah, that would take the. You can carry 1 sack of stuff. Although I would rule that you get another factor of slowness because you're not on the wagon but walking with a heavy load.
or we could try selling the saffron here, although that went so well last time we tried.
I'm starting to see why Nat is traveling for the Church of the Cogflower.
Why, you think they sent me out here to be punished?
Is that or to really learn the ropes?
Yeah, could be.
Makes me wonder if Nat just kind of sat in a back room doing like contract law and whatnot.
Yeah, Nat's probably been mostly an office guy or gal up to this point.
An office them.
Yeah, the office type, and now that they're trying to get out into get the real world experience to go with the office experience. They are first level after all.
Okay, guys, I do like to have like a break after every hour of play. So, shall we say, I don't know, 20 past the hour? Wanna
Works
get
for me.
another drink? Cool.
See you in a few.
See you in a few. Puckett, will you run anything for the Gauntlet Con thing?
I'm looking at. I mean, the short version is yes. At the moment, I'm looking at Passiones. I'm also thinking about Golden Sky Stories
Cool.
because I just I look at things like that, and it's like, hey, go from say Cthulhu games to something like playing a grandmother.
Yeah, I haven't seen the second session of what is it called?
Brindlewood
Bay? Yeah.
I
Yes.
think we just was it session 4 or 5 this past week.
Okay.
I'd have to look. Yeah, but you're missing out on delightful fun. The most recent session, the entire thing was around a baking show.
Yeah, I like the combination of mystery and the cute grandmother types interacting with each other.
We managed to get a skater, like a skate punk, a girlfriend.
Oh wow! I remember that was in the first session, the skate punks.
Actually, that was session 2 because that's when we found the B movie director, and he had them at the party, and I kind of took one of them under my wing, Scar, as he liked to call himself. He thought the brownies that I baked were special instead of just really good brownies by somebody who knows how to bake.
I mean, they were introduced in the first session as a more like a background thing.
Yeah, background noise.
Yeah. And Dennis, are you planning to run anything?
Yeah, I kind of want to try to run a Delta Green, but I have to try to.
I sign up.
Yeah, I know. I think you mentioned that before. I just need to make sure I know how to set everything up. I mean, all the things like this and character keepers and die rollers and.
Well, the die roller is the easiest one.
Yeah.
I mean, you just go to roll for your roll for your dot party, I think it is, and it spawns a new dynamically generated room. So you just copy the link to it, paste it in the character keeper, and you're good to go with that.
Yeah, and I'd probably, since it would be a one shot, I'd probably just use my set of pre-gens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a necessity, I think.
To be able to have enough time to play, especially with Delta Green.
Yeah.
Ned, do you have headphones maybe? Because I got echo from you. Not Dennis, I mean.
Oh, from me? Okay, yeah, I can switch back. I was trying a different mic setup, but I can switch back to headphones.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that, but it gets a bit weird. And Dan, are you running anything?
Yeah, I think so. I'm trying to decide if I'm going to do 1 or 2 games, and I'll probably this will be my first running one for the Gauntlet. So I'll probably do Dungeon World because that's what I'm most comfortable with. But I might also I love Hearts of Wulin, so I might do a Hearts of Wulin game too.
I never played it.
Oh,
it's great.
It's great.
Jim actually ran Hearts of Wulin versus the World, so it's basically Hearts of Wulin crossed with Scott Pilgrim.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I ran it for my face-to-face group, and we did like a 4 or 5 session arc, and it was great. And now they don't really want to play anything else, but we said we were going to try a bunch of games this year. So
cool. Yeah, awesome.
Okay, does this sound better now?
Yes.
Okay.
Although, yeah. Okay, cool. All right, let's see. I think we start, if you all agree, with you moving up the mountain in like 2 files. this very narrow mountain road that winds up to the top. And after a couple of hours, you start feeling like minor quakes. The ground is shaking a little bit, and later you hear from a distance like multi-voiced screams that like screams from a thousand mouths in a thousand different voices. And eventually, afternoon, you let's see, is that true? How long is the journey? I think it's longer, actually. It's not true. On the hills. Actually, you're traveling some time.
Did you say there were screams
Yeah, there were screams from above.
from above?
Yeah,
Okay. From the mountain.
from the mountains.
All right. And is it persistent the whole journey?
No, it's swelling up. It disappears and then it returns again. So I think so. I just saw that you're traveling actually for 3 days. So you will have to rest at some stage, obviously. And I think the screams you hear at night at your first rest. And the other warriors, they don't seem to react to it. They just accept it.
Is Solbeck leading us?
Yeah, Solbeck is leading you. Well, Solbeck / Dust Scorpion.
On the second day of the walk, I want to try to catch up to Dust Scorpion and say, I get the feeling this isn't going to be a physical battle.
No, it's not. We need your minds. We don't need your consciousness. And we don't need your weapons.
So the festival on the last day, that really wasn't just about getting drunk. That was about basically making sure that our bodies can be relaxed enough to survive whatever's coming.
And she stops and turns to you. No, it's celebrating life. This is just a celebration of, you know, they fight all the time. And it's the one moment where the village is together, reunited, and when they are themselves. And we know that what we ask of them. But there's no other way.
I see. How long has this war been going on?
For generations. Ropey end, we call them. And it's something that has been left behind from the long, long ago. And it is malfunctioning. And it's growing.
I see. Thank you. And I fall back into column and look for Satrap.
So is Satrap like the you were taking notes before when you walked when we left Violet City. Is it the same thing, or has their mood changed?
No, there's still sort of a detached curiosity that Satrap has, and but at the same time, they took Nida's words to heart and have been scoping the ground for flora and plant life that can be used in a healing manner. I imagine the mountains are not very don't support a lot of plant life very well, but that has not diminished their hope to find something that can be used.
And so after some time, Nida drops back to where Satrap is.
Got some good news for you.
Okay.
You're not going to be patching up our bodies.
That was the only thing I knew how to do. What am I going to do?
Do you remember when Solbeck told you that no satrap had ever been in this war?
Yeah.
This is a war that apparently occurs in a non-physical space.
Interesting.
As Solbeck told me, they need our minds, not our consciousness, to fight in a war that's been going on for generations. And you're made of light.
It's true.
And that makes me wonder, up until now, the war has been fought by beings, by corporeal beings. I wonder what happens if we inject a being of light into it, and how that changes things. You might be the bullet that ends the war.
I did have a vision that implied that I would not necessarily fare well. And I assumed it meant I would need to find a new, I would need to sort of be embodied in a new suit. We call that transitioning. But I wonder if I have a even bigger role to play now.
I mean, Solbeck said this war has been going for generations. And it's been fought by meat sacks. This could be very interesting.
Do you think they need this war?
I don't know. What I do know is that you can become so accustomed to something in your life that you can't imagine your life without it. And you don't know who or what you would be if it stopped or went away.
If I can end this war, do you think I should?
That is a question that no one has ever asked me. The Legion of the Far Side has just universally held that if there is something threatening people, something placing them at risk, you end that thing. You end the threat. In a situation like this, where you're talking about whether these people need this conflict in some way, shape, or form to maintain their culture or maintain their will to live or maintain the value that they think they offer society, that's a judgment of morality that I don't feel qualified to make.
Let me ask you one other question. Do you think it's these people who need this war, or the dust scorpion is using them?
See, now you're asking about power structures. And that is something that I do know something about.
Well,
Satrap, when we last talked, I mentioned that sometimes you only need one bullet to transform a culture, to end a war, to put paid to something, to stop something bad from occurring. I'll know more after we do whatever it is we're here to do. But the Legion of the Far Sight generally does not send us out unless they want us to end a threat, even if it is non-specific as to what that threat may be. And I wink.
Okay.
So at noon of the third day, you arrive on the top of the mountain, and on the way you had seen again the lingering images of some kind of psychic shrapnels that hit the side of the mountains. Satrap 88 was looking for plant life, helpful plant life, but what you see was it looked like mouths in the ground with file teeth just gnawing, but they're not real, and the other elders just walk over them. But anyways, afternoon, you take a last turn, you reach the top of the mountain, and there's it looks like a former car park with tents on them and campfires. But the top of the mountain is dominated by an improbably high brutalist building. It looks like something from the Soviet Union and again from the 70s or 80s. But it's gigantic. It's an arcology, so it has the size of a city that is crammed into a building. And it is this massive, ugly thing with very sharp angles. But it's also it has also these dry corals, which is corals that can be manipulated to grow in whatever shape or form you want them to, if you have the ability. And they're actually quite colorful. So you can also see that the side of the next mountain is covered with trees and scrubs. And again, the top of the mountain is missing, blown apart. You're welcomed by another elder who leads you to one of these tents. And while you approach the tent, you can see something else which is strange, and that is on the facade of this massive building, there is just like the face of the shaman. There's the face of whatever being it is. It looks more like a theater mask, so not real features. And the face is moving. Like the eyes are blinking, and the mouth is twitching a little bit. And when you enter the tent, you can hear a like a booming voice that must come from that face, saying, "Welcome, warriors. This is dead springtime. The war will start soon." But inside of the tent, there's another shaman, and it's a very claustrophobic space. It's warm inside. There's a fire going, and the shaman turns to the three of you. So you are led into the tent, and he holds up like a cup, and he pours inside the cup what looks like eggs, and he says, "You will forget that has ever happened when you ingest these eggs. Do you know what you sign up for?"
Salbeck said that we signed up for you to use our minds, not our consciousness, and that this is not a physical war.
But we want you to willingly join the war, knowing what you sign up for.
Perhaps you can go into more detail then.
You will have no recollection that this has happened. And I know that you are a representative of the Legion. The Legion will scrub the information from your records.
I see. So, since none of us are going to remember this, tell me, what is this? What are we fighting? Why are we fighting it? You say that you want us to go into this knowing what we signed up for.
In the long ago, machines were created that built other machines. And they say the devil was by their side when they did it. And now we cannot stop them. It's called ropey end, and it is branches and tentacles and machine parts, and they duplicate and grow like cancer. In the long ago, it was all called an autophag, and there are many left, but none is as vital as this one.
So, and forgive me for being so blunt, but I am from the Legion. Why haven't you simply destroyed this factory?
We're trying.
It seems to me that, for example, explosives would do a better job of destroying it than our minds will. Our minds are soft and squishy. Explosives make things blow up.
To even get near it means to be infected. Physically going near these things means adding warriors to their side.
So there's also a contagion involved.
As always with these biomechanical beings. And the shaman looks slightly worried at Ned's pet.
I was actually thinking that. Because I'm standing here with a Vom.
Are we talking about the chicken or are we talking about Casey?
No,
Neither.
The Vom I started with.
Okay.
It's the one that giggles when I tickle it or pet it.
It's like a furry ferret or something.
Yeah, it looks like a ferret. But vomes are violent machines, so even though it looks organic.
See, I'm wondering if Satrap 88 is going to be affected by these eggs the same way that Nat and I would be.
Good question.
I can't really drink it. So
Yeah. I mean, you're light. What's going to affect you?
I asked the shaman, do I need to drink this in order to participate in your war?
Yes. Otherwise, your memories will be wiped in less pleasant ways.
Could you give us a moment, shaman?
Please. And the shaman steps outside, but leaves the cup with the eggs inside.
Satrap, can you function without your containment suit?
My understanding is that without my containment suit, I would become a light so bright and so powerful that I would blind and potentially destroy everything within about a kilometer radius before burning out forever.
I see. I liked everything you said up until the burning out forever part. I was asking because as a being of light, you can't be infected by whatever is affecting everyone else, can you?
We don't know until we try. I do have a mind.
That's true.
I do have a consciousness. I am sentient.
Yes.
So my assumption is that, yeah, I could be affected, but I don't have a way of consuming whatever this is. Now, I could fake it, but I suspect the shaman would know.
That is, unless one of us ate your egg as well.
I wouldn't want you to overdose on memory killing eggs, but
I'm still
Nat?
not sure. I'm still not sure why they need us to take something that will erase our memory and apparently take it before we do whatever we're about to do.
can we decide later if we want to forget this?
Well, no, I mean, if there, do we take it now and we just won't remember anything we do for the next 48 hours or whatever, and then we just start remembering things again a week from now? You know, it doesn't sound like it erases our memory. It sounds like it keeps us from remembering things.
It inhibits memory formation.
Yeah. So what are they trying to keep secret?
That's why I was asking about what Satrap 88 could do outside of a containment suit.
Oh, okay.
I mean, of all of us at this point, Satrap 88 is the most able to investigate what's actually going on and seems the least likely to be affected by it. I mean, if there's no corporeal form, there's nothing to infect with a biomechanical virus. I mean, Satrap, do you get colds? Do you sneeze?
We have our own form of illnesses, if that's what you're asking.
Of course, but they're specific to your kind, are they not?
Yeah.
So if I developed a sneeze or a cough, I couldn't transmit it to you. And whatever you developed, whether it's some kind of aversion to a certain type of energy or something along those lines, you couldn't transmit it to me, could you?
Probably not.
I wish we had Casey here. We could just give Casey all the eggs and we could all remember everything.
That armadillo will eat anything.
Right?
Look,
Is Casey not here?
No, Casey. So there was this heartbreaking scene when Casey handed you. I don't know, what did she hand you? Like maybe a necklace of flowers or something. She gathered some stones, and Narlock had to hold her while she extended her hands, and then we left.
No.
She was like sadly waving bye-bye with her claws.
Yeah, okay. I guess she's taking care of the chicken, too. I mean, she'll probably have eaten it before we get back, but...
I mean, Vigo didn't come with us, did he?
Who?
No.
Okay, so Vigo's taking care of Casey and the chicken and Ajax and
But
whatever else
apparently-
you acquired last night when you got drunk.
But apparently I've got my Vom with me, so who knows?
Um,
On my shoulder.
I can I don't usually do this, but I can approximate consuming this liquid, and I don't know if it'll have the same effect on me or not, but I'm willing to do this to see what happens.
Can you drink it and just let it slosh around inside your suit, maybe? It's not exactly drink it, just...
Yeah, I have a attachment on my finger that I can kind of pop off and absorb the liquid that way. I don't really like to do that because it creates some risk for me, but I'm about to go into war. So.
I wonder, Satrap, have any of your kind ever tried to convert matter to energy?
I've been away from my people for so long. I don't know what they're doing. They're all in the West, and I'm trying to get back there to really, find my soul, but also to rejoin them.
Oh, Satrap, you have a soul.
I'm like the Tin Woodsman. Well, that's nice of you to say, but I don't feel like I have a soul. So I want to fight in this war to see what it's like.
Fighting in wars doesn't give you a soul. It takes it away. Well, if the best option that we can think of is that you approximate consuming that egg so that it looks as though you won't recall what happened, that seems to be our best option.
And look, if I flame out, I've got a backup stored back in the Violet City, and I can. So I will be there, and hopefully get reconstituted at some point.
It's less that and more that I want to know what happens. I want to know why we're fighting. I want to know, more to the point, what we're fighting. Because it does no one any good to continue throwing minds and consciousness and bodies at an enemy that just keeps growing in strength.
I will do my best to get you those answers.
And more to the point, preserve them. it does us no good to have the answers if we can't communicate it. If, for example, something happened to you and you had the answers and they hadn't been written down, and Nat and I don't know what happened.
So out of character for a moment, my thought for this is that this is Satrap's this war is Satrap's exit from this adventure, and that they will flame out, if that's appropriate for the fiction.
Cool for me.
That's right. You're not here next month, are you?
No, but
Neither am I, for that matter.
I will leave Nida my snail. And so whatever I do manage to observe in this, Nida will find my snail, which will contain whatever it was that I observed.
Cool.
Is there anything you can put of like the last couple of weeks of traveling in there as well, or is it just like a very, very brief, like almost like a tiny little 256 meg memory stick type thing?
Yeah, it's little. What I realized, because the snail is made out of crystal, and I can store myself in a crystal, but normally satraps store themselves in very large crystals. Because this is a small one, it'll just be, I sense, I'll realize it's only sort of like the last little bit of my life before I flame out.
Okay. I have to say, out of character, this is gonna fucking suck. I like Satrap.
Well, you can just reconstitute me back in Violet City.
And we may join back in later. We're out of character here, but
Yeah.
my thing was when the notice came out for the sign up, I was at work and our office firewall has the sign up sheets blocked.
Oh, hateful.
And honestly, before I got home, I forgot it had come up, and when I remembered it again, it was already full. So,
I mean, there will be so many sessions in the future. It would be strange if you wouldn't be able to get in any of them.
yeah, I'll
And-
just keep watching. Like I said, I got caught by,
Because I want
Office
to find out what's going to
firewall
happen
and-
with Nat too. Like, is Nat going to become like the premier negotiator of the Church of the Cogflower? And
well,
Well,
I
I
think what Nat's hoping out of this is he's hoping the reason he's even getting involved in a war is he was trying to talk to the people back at the village, and they weren't. Remember, they were kind of standoffish and that sort of thing. Maybe by fighting the war for them, they will welcome them more, and Nat will probably work up setting his or their trade caravan thing up to sell the synthahol stuff.
Mhm.
So that's how I'm envisioning Nat going right now. Assuming he survives this, or they survive this.
God, y'all have all these elaborate plans, and I'm just sitting here thinking, all Nida wants is to not get killed and eaten by an Ash White tribes member.
All right, so the shaman comes back. It is time. Time for a decision.
Gulp.
So, yeah, the cup is passed around, and so these eggs are really small. Like they are more like frog eggs, and many of them. And you do see that there's something moving inside. You still drink it?
Why not?
And so, Satrap 88, can you make a saving throw to see if... So you do feel when the eggs enter your body that there's some kind of psycho material effect going on.
Yes, I can do as you ask. You will have to remind me.
So saving throw is, in your case, it is a 6. So you would have to roll 6 or lower.
On a d20.
Yes.
That should be fine. All right. I've pulled up one of my turquoise colored 20s and I rolled it. And I pushed the wrong button. And I rolled an 8.
Ah, so close.
So close.
All right. So in any case, you all feel like they sit pretty heavy in your stomach, and you leave the tent, and all the warriors. So there must be like 100 old leathery-faced nomads. They have all lined up like in a Star Wars movie, the troopers, the stormtroopers, and they face the face on the facade. And from now on, things become a bit blurry for Nida and Ned. Setrap is still completely conscious, but you, Ned and Nida, feel the presence of Dead Springtime, this ultra, this non-corporeal, like powerful mind pressing their will onto you. And on one of the side of the car park, there is like a ramp that's going down, and the nomads have secured the entrance with like some kind of totem poles and fetishes that stand there, and you pass these barriers and descend into the bowels of the mountain. And I would like to have like a small vignette from everyone. So you're fighting. It's almost like you are like marionettes being controlled by this ghost, except Satrap, who can act as they want. And you're leading, you're led deep into the underground of the city, and in the first gigantic hall, there are these like tentacles of, it looks like branches almost, and they sweep over the room, throwing away bodies left and right. And how do you overcome the first obstacle? Let's say Nida. It's not you personally, but like your battalion, let's say.
And how big are the machines in this first hall?
You can't even see the machine itself. It seems as if they protrude out of the wall. It's like this wall of tentacled branches. And they are like the room itself is maybe like an opera hall, something like 20 meters high.
And these tentacles were reaching out and attacking us.
Yes. But physically attacking us, and the answer will have to be some kind of psychic defense.
Yeah, I'm thinking like blades of pure light manifested by our consciousness to cut the tentacles off at the wall. That's why I was
Awesome.
asking more questions about it. It's basically, you just see these incredibly huge swords that are physically impossible. They cannot exist in the real world. They couldn't even be made in the real world because of their size, but because they're made of light, you can almost wield them with your index finger and your thumb. And they're just gigantic and massive. And a swipe or two is all it takes to clear away these tentacles.
Awesome. And so you clear the tentacles. You arrive in the it must be some kind of like a maintenance tunnel. And while you're in the middle of the maintenance tunnel, um, the machine manifests in. It looks almost like I don't know, almost like rats or something. Small creatures that are half mechanical and half flesh, and they start to gnaw at the elders. And Ned, how does Dead Springtime react to that?
Well, since it's still psychic, what happens is the places where they're biting at us start to have like a greenish glow to them. And it seems the things that are biting first, they start holding back on their biting. You can tell it's like tasting horrible to them or something. Then they start almost convulsing and pulling away, but they can't. They're trying to pull away, and the green glow is now spreading onto them, and they're starting to, instead of biting us, they're starting to claw and scratch at themselves. And then they just turn and start fleeing away, glowing brighter green as they go.
And the elders that come behind you, they also walk over the dead bodies, and there's this crunching sound of mechanical parts being squashed. And then you reach the artifact itself. So the room must be it's the so it's an arcology, which means it has a huge need for power consumption or power production. And this is an old reactor. It's like a nuclear reactor. And the whole thing has turned, organic, half organic and half mechanical. So when Satrap 88 has the chance to sacrifice themselves to win the battle, or you can opt to not do that and wake up, later. What do you want to do?
I'm going to flame out.
Awesome.
And I will play the snail for the remainder of our session.
Cool. So, do you hand over the snail to drop like the snail into Nida's pockets or something?
Yeah, I kind of rip it out of my suit, and Nida is not in control of her own body.
Not anymore. Like after the tunnel, you just look into blank faces.
So I stand near her. I don't want to. I need to transfer my memory into the snail, but I need to. So I start that process. But I also reach up and remove my helmet, and in doing so, the suit remains actually fine. It's sort of designed to self-articulate. But the light emerges, and just I'm sort of picturing it kind of spiky, not like a ball, but spiky. Lots of flashing colors, just getting bigger and bigger and bigger, until I had a really good description in the book here. Skinless satrap is utterly blinding and burns like a small fiery sun. So I sort of hurl myself at the reactor, worried that I might be hurting everybody else, but not worrying too much about that right now. Maybe I go into the reactor and flame out and evaporate into nothing.
I think the last thing that you hear is "Get out!" And you see the elders backing out and running through the tunnel back to safety when Satrap melts with the core of the power plant. And we see this explosion of light and a deafening sound. And
my suit's last act is to press the snail into Nida's hand.
Cool, awesome. And then you wake up, Ned and Nida. You're at the lonely corpse at the last waterhole. You remember the party from yesterday with the Greenlanders, and there's there's the chicken. What happened to Casey though? Oh, and there's an armadilloid sitting next to Ned. So Ned sits between an armadilloid and a chicken, more or less. Nida, you remember stealing the saffron sack. You don't remember where the two barrels of synth alcohol come from. Probably the Greenlanders left them behind.
Do you remember why there's an armadilloid with us?
No, you don't.
Nat? I can only conclude that we had one hell of a party.
Yes, I seem to have collected and I seem to be collecting these now.
We have alcohol that materialized from nowhere. You have whatever that is.
Casey puts a hand out and waves.
It's friendly.
Yeah, I guess.
Where's Satrap?
I was about to ask you that.
Are there any other people in the watering hole right now?
Just your caravan. So Vigo, and we assume that Copernicus is somehow in the background.
Ask Vigo if he if he know. Do we realize how much time has passed?
Oh, that is a good question. Don't think so.
I mean, if we realized that time had passed, then we might assume that we somehow acquired this armadilloid while blackout drunk for a week or so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have an armadillo.
I'm not sure how you would. Like the weather has changed, that is true, but it can change overnight, obviously.
Yeah.
You all feel relatively like you don't feel exhausted or anything. You feel
Still
like
feel well rested.
Yeah, well rested with a hangover.
Well rested. So much for the stuff not causing a hangover. I know it's not from that. This is strange. Apparently the prophet has seen fit to gift us with this, but apparently we made some kind of... There was obviously a payment made. Perhaps Satrap has joined the circle.
Then what mode of communication does the snail have?
Well, it will wiggle in Nida's pocket, and it will send images, flashes of gold and purple to Nida.
Something wiggles in your pocket, Nida.
And I reach in and, oh. And I show the snail to Nat.
I don't think that you have seen it on Satrap 88. Well, maybe the shape, the general shape, I'm not sure. What do you think?
I think it's a crystalline snail. So, and literally all parts of it are made out of clear crystal, but the lights flashing inside of it now are definitely evocative.
Oh, yeah.
Satrap 88's helmet. And I would imagine, since Nida and I had several conversations, that she could recognize those light patterns.
And I look at the snail in my hand. And
did you take that from Satrap?
It was in my pocket, and it is.
Do we need to go? Should we try to retrace our steps and see where we lost Satrap? Perhaps they are still out wherever we held our party.
This is highly unusual. I mean, it's flashing with the colors of Satrap's suit. So, and I look at the snail and try to figure out what to do with it, how to interact with it in some way so that I can actually do whatever or learn whatever it's trying to tell me.
I mean, Ajax communicates telepathically with you. So maybe it can telepathically communicate with the snail as well.
Good point. Yeah, Ajax?
Yes, sir. I'm kidding.
I figured. I was just about to say your sarcasm is duly noted. Can you help me out with this snail? I think it's Satrap's, but it's flashing Satrap's colors at me.
Yeah, Satrap is playing with the snail, like pawing at it. Doesn't look edible.
It's made of crystal, so I probably not.
All right then. So Satrap, the failed saving throw will mean that the information will be faultive. Is that a word? Like things will be missing, and the order of things will be mingled up, and it will be much more difficult to make sense of it. So how does it look like when Ajax tries to really focus on something? Neither.
He sits down, closes his eyes, puts his paw on the thing that he's trying to focus on. And when I can tell when he's really intent, because everyone who lives with a cat knows that cats actually have two brains. There's the one in their head, and there's the one in the tail, which allows for separate and independent thinking. And usually the brain in the tail is much more angry. That's why cats flip their tails all the time. Ajax's tail stops moving. Like not even a little twitch. It's completely still.
And he sits there for maybe half an hour and nothing is happening. What are you doing in the meantime? Watching him? Making coffee? What's the...
I think for the first couple of minutes I watch Ajax, and then I realize this is going to take some time. So I brew some coffee because Lord knows we need that right now.
Coffee is good.
Coffee is always good. And I look over, every minute or two just to see if anything new is going on. I'm close, but not hovering.
So the next time you look, it looks as if there is like frost on its whiskers.
Ajax.
And he's slightly trembling.
Crap. All right. I have my yellow liner cloak around me, and I take that off and I wrap it around Ajax because it may not look like much, but it's made of a material that's weather resistant. It's very warm and insulated. It's just very slim. So it looks thin. It doesn't look like it would be any protection from the elements at all, but it's actually quite useful in a lot of circumstances. And this will at least keep Ajax warm.
And when Ajax feels your physical contact, he shakes out of the trance he was in, and you hear in your brain, Satrap is dead.
What?
He blew up. It was in this place, and there was light. I don't know. It makes no sense.
Tell me what you can remember of it.
Well, the suit was empty, and he dropped the snail into your pocket, and there were these old people, and the room was big and it was illuminated by light, and then the others ran.
I would also imagine that some of the the psychic imagery is getting all conflated. So like maybe the rats have tentacles and
Cool.
like things that, I mean, it already didn't make a whole lot of sense, but makes even less sense.
Yeah. Like elements of what happened is rearranged.
Almost like recording over an old videotape and having some of the images remaining from the first tape. I yell for Nat.
Yes. What is disturbing you?
You can stop looking for Satrap. And I tell Nat what's happened. It's
Do we know why the three of us were in this place, or who those people we were with?
Not from what Ajax can tell me. I can hazard a guess.
Yes.
As we were getting ready to leave the Violet City, I got that notice from the Legion about a war being fought.
Oh, is that still in your brain though?
You know what? That's right, because it would have been cleared.
Yeah. So every
Yeah,
mentioning of the
the
Lavender
Legion
Cliffs.
would have like wiped the records of it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. What I know is that according to what Ajax saw, Satrap put this snail in my pocket. And it appeared, whatever Satrap did, it appeared to be voluntary.
Perhaps Satrap gave its life that that the rest of us could escape.
It looks something like that. Without knowing the situation, without knowing anything else, I can't think of a better explanation. There are these hazy images of people saying run as Satrap opened its containment suit.
I will miss Satrap, but I will always remember their sacrifice for us. Or remember that they did sacrifice for us, though I do not remember it.
I think I feel the same, and even though this information might be valuable for the travelogue, I don't think it's something that I'm going to share. This will stay with us.
I understand. I'm actually going to, now that one of this has happened, I'm going to start checking myself to see if I've got cuts or injuries or anything like that, since it seems we were in a fight of some kind.
Make a wisdom check, which is d20, and then roll under your equal or under your score.
Yeah, and wisdom's my lowest stat, so that's
wow.
My wisdom is 7. Okay.
Jeez.
Yeah. Okay, I need to roll a d20. And survey says 12. That is not under a 7.
It seems nothing has changed. Like, you have no bruises, no cuts of any kind.
If it's okay with you, Horst, I'd like to make the same roll, see if I come up with anything.
Yeah.
And the fact that it was all psychic means I wouldn't, like, I have my bow, but I would still have the same number of arrows because I wouldn't have fired any. So
yeah, same with bullets.
Yeah, that's a 15.
So you can't see any difference
evidence.
No evidence of change. Are you ready to move on?
I think. Can I reattune myself to Ajax while we're traveling?
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
And then we've got the synth alcohol on our backs. I think. Nat, do you want to drive or do you want to let Vigo drive?
I've been driving, but I can let Vigo drive. I'm not sure what I would be doing. I mean, I can try to remember, but I won't, so.
Yeah, it's this horrible feeling, waking up from a dream and there is something, but then it is completely gone.
Yeah.
When we began this, you and Copernicus were in the wagon, and Satrap and 88 and I walked behind.
Yes.
We talked about what we were seeing and speculating about why certain flora and fauna were in the area.
I can walk with you if that is what you wish. We can let Viga drive. I will also try to communicate with this armadilloid who seems friendly to me.
It seems quite friendly to you.
Yes, maybe they can tell us. Maybe I can learn something from them.
Perhaps. It would just be... I don't often travel with people. And it is even less common that when I do travel with people, I lose them. I learned a long time ago not to this is why most of us Yellowlanders are by ourselves. We've
Yes.
learned the pain of loss. And I would consider it a kindness if you would walk with me and talk to honor Satrap 88.
Yes, I will do that for both of you.
Who's carrying the barrel like this? Or do you have enough capacity now?
Have we used any supplies?
No. You bought the supplies from the Greenlanders.
Yep.
So actually, you got the supplies back probably
Yeah.
because you used them up for traveling to the Lavender Cliffs.
And I mean, it'd be kind of a dick move if they didn't like hook us up with some food for the ride back.
And also to establish the illusion that no time has passed.
Right. So I think we're carrying them because
Yeah, all of
otherwise,
you.
we're at capacity on the coach.
Yeah, and you said we had 2 barrels?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Well, the barrels will probably be hard to carry. I guess each of us needs to carry a supply sack then. At least they'll get lighter as the week goes along.
But you also have one person less in the caravan, with Satrap being deceased.
Yeah, but I don't want to just drop the extra supply.
Obviously. All right, so we see you both walking slowly behind the wagon, burdened by this sack over your shoulders, probably. And shall we take a short break, or are you okay?
Matt or Dennis, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine.
Dan?
I'm fine. I'll just run, take a quick bio break, and come right back.
So do you want to just go straight through and maybe cut out a little bit early today?
Yeah, we could do that. We just traveled to the porcelain, to the next destination, which is the porcelain citadel. Do all the all the roles and to see where we are next time.
Okay.
But I have a pee as well. I'll be back in 2 minutes.
Okay.
After
Yeah,
character class. What an inspired idea.
Really. Yeah. That is pretty much what it is.
I mean, tell me that doesn't feel like Troika.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I just had a really awful idea.
Yeah.
A zine of new Troika classes based on musicians and musical archetypes. Like literally Daft Punk as a character class for Troika. Like Beyonce, Taylor Swift, Kesha. I mean, actually, Kesha already feels like a Troika character. What am I saying? Yeah.
Okay, so let's go over the travel routine. Let's see, what do we do first? Subtract provisions for a week is what we do.
Okay, there's only 3 of us right now, counting Vigo.
Yes.
Yeah, Copernicus is off somewhere doing something.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we only have
So we feed ourselves in Vigo, correct?
right.
Yes.
So that leaves us with 2 supplies.
Good news
Okay.
is we can actually get rid. We can actually put the Synthahol in the wagon now.
Yes.
Yep. Of course, we're gonna have to buy some more supplies, but maybe we can. We're gonna have to sell something here to get
Funds.
funds. Yeah, we got the saffron and the synthahol. The vid crystals we don't get. We have to carry them a bit further to get to the triple pay place because it kept getting kicked down the road.
So you travel for a couple of days through over the steppe, and you still. So the steppe itself has a lot of ruins that have the same architectural style that your characters seen and forgot from the mountain city. So probably Ned knows that it's from the best forgotten age. And these buildings are all burned out. They're mere shells, ransacked. And they're these ugly, rough concrete structures that dot the landscape. But after a couple of days, there is the landscape is changing a little bit. So it's still grasslands, but now the ground has this cinder texture. So the grass is actually growing on this cinder soil or ground.
Really quickly, are we traveling past that banyan tree?
Past that,
Yeah. Are we traveling past the banyan tree?
the banyan tree. Oh, the what's it called? The baobab tree.
Yeah, the baobab tree.
The baobab tree. That's a good question. I think you can't see it from the road, unfortunately.
Okay.
So it must have been, hidden by some outcropping of the mountains.
Okay.
And so the grass gets fewer and fewer in between this what is called the cinder waste, And the next thing we do is we roll for misfortune. And I think it is Ned's time. And that is a D20, and you add your charisma modifier. So let's see.
And we know how well my charisma is. My charisma is still down 11. Has it recovered any yet?
No.
Okay.
So it's still 0, +0.
Right. And I want to roll a d20, not a d12. Okay. And I rolled oh God, I rolled a 1.
Oh my God.
That can't be good.
That can't be good. So you both have to make a saving throw. The air is filled with smoke and dust.
Constitution save, I assume.
Yes. Yeah. No. It's a straight saving throw.
Okay.
That's ST, correct?
It's the
my
ST. Yeah.
ST. Okay.
And
yeah.
we want to roll over ST, correct?
No. Unfortunately, under or equal.
Well, unfortunately, my ST is a 7, and I rolled a 14. Why couldn't I have done that the first time?
All righty. Four under 5. What the hell?
Nice. All right. So how do you protect yourself from the, I mean, you're a yellow lander, but how do you protect yourself from the smoke and the dust?
I wrap my cloak around my face. This is partly what
Obviously.
it's for. I mean, this cloak is, it's almost magical. And it was a technique that was our people passed down in terms of how to weave fabric so that you can use it to filter impurities and particulate matter out of the air. It blocks out radiation. It does a lot of things, and it looks like almost nothing. I mean, it'll even deflect glancing blows or bullets. But in this case, I just take it. There's like a little, it's almost like a shawl, that the way that I can take the corner of it, and instead of letting it hang around my leg, I can just flip it up over my face, over my shoulder, and it'll stay in place.
So while Nida is protected from the dust and the smoke, Ned starts a pretty ugly rasping cough halfway through the cinder waste, and needs to subtract a D4 from the Constitution.
Lovely. Let's see if I can roll as badly as I have been. And of course, that one rolls a 4.
What's happening? All right, and now I roll a D4 for what is happening on the road. A D8, I'm sorry. Let's see, this is my D8. And we got a 2. Oh, wow. So I think maybe 2 days before, like 6 days in, you camp again. You sit around the campfire. Casey is trying to tell you something, Ned, and he makes the climbing motion, and he touches his head, and he makes this again, touches his head again, and Vigo is playing the flute, when all of a sudden, from under the ground, a couple of things break out of the ground, and
That's never a good sign.
that can't be good. Let's see. How many are there? That's the question. Done. I think it's a D4. Yes. Let's roll. Oh no, that's a D6. I'm sorry. That's a D4. Ooh, that's lucky. So from between Ned and Nida, there breaks from under the ground it is the size of a German Shepherd, but it is mainly a maw. It's mainly it's a worm. There are like from the worm there are wires hanging, and there's definitely some kind of mechanical whizzing sound that is emanating from the worm as well. And I think this is the first time we roll initiative because we have to see who acts first. We do it the simple version, which is the monsters roll and somebody rolls for the heroes. And I think you can add your dexterity modifier if you have one. So who's doing the honors?
I think it's got to be Nat.
Do you really want me to be rolling? You've seen how I've been rolling,
Your dex is 15.
which is a +1, I believe. I think 16 would have given me +2, but okay. So what am I rolling? A D20?
No, a D6.
D6?
Yeah, and you add your very old school.
Okay, roll a D6 and add my +1. So I rolled a 4, so that's a total of 5.
Okay, and so the worm rolls as well. Oops. Somebody's sabotaging me. And this is, I think, a 3. So you can act first. The worm breaks out of the ground. These wires hanging from its body, the metal teeth clicking, and there's a whizzing sound from inside. The rest of the body is ready to strike.
And it's right here between us, right?
Yes.
Okay. I got the neural whip. What? So do I roll under my dex? Is that how it works?
So yeah, describe how you how does it look like? I mean, you would have to whip the. I can't imagine that you sit there with your neural whip in your hands.
It's on my. It's on my belt. I've said that.
Yeah.
Mentioned it. So I just grab it, whip it free, and in one forward motion. No, underhand whip.
Nice. Yeah. So roll exactly under dexterity, equal or under.
Equal under dexterity. Okay. Dexterity is a 15, so I roll a 7. So that's under.
Yes. So the way combat in armor in Whitehack works is you have to roll over the AC of the monster, which is in this case 2, and under your dexterity, which with a 7 you made it, and you can apply your damage.
Okay, damage is a D8. And I roll a 1 again.
Yeah,
Pink.
there's a slight chance that you can stun. It's on a 20. It's on when you roll a crit, isn't it?
Well, it says
On a 20.
on a 20, which
Yeah,
is under CCAT. So I would guess if I rolled my dex exactly.
exactly. Yeah, that's a crit in Vitek.
Yeah.
All right, so that's 1.
Yeah.
And
Look at my dice, somebody. You can see how I've been. There's
it's a lot of crappy rolls.
yeah.
All right, so the worm turns around and tries to bury its metallic teeth into Ned's leg. I think Ned, for the first time, has to roll their HP.
I'm gonna have to
Whoa!
roll my HP, don't I? What do I roll?
Unless I mean the monster has to attack first. It's an old school system, so maybe. So that's a 14.
So I don't get a chance to act before the monster does?
Actually, you do, because both act before the monster. We make a group initiative. So what is Nida doing?
How close is this thing
Mm,
to me?
at arm's reach.
Okay. Well, I haven't used this bad boy before, but I've got that staff of ancient pistols that somehow got fused together. And it's close. I don't want to mess around with it. I'm just going to grab that thing and start swinging at this worm.
Okay, make your roll, please.
And this is D20 over
Equal or
2, under
Yes.
11.
Yes.
Make sure I understand it. All right.
Yeah.
$14 over 11.
So I think you would have hit it, but it is incredibly quick and moves in rather erratic ways. It's almost twitching. So let's see. Where's my D20 at? Oh, this one. Reroll selected. And yes, a 7. And then the damage is a 3.
Okay, so hit points are D6.
Yes.
Hey, I actually rolled a 6.
Nice. For the first time, a good roll.
So
you reduce, and you don't wear any kind of armor?
I do wear armor.
Okay, so...
my linen suit is 2.
Yeah, okay, but I rolled a 12 under a 14, so...
Right.
Reduce 3 points from your hit points, and what it looks like is the worm buries its teeth into your leg, and it is now like attached to the leg, and it chews on it. So next round we make another initiative roll to see who's first. Another D6.
Do you want me to roll again?
You have the best chances. I rolled a 2.
You do have the best chance.
I rolled a 6 plus 1 is 7.
Mm-hmm. So you definitely act before the monster. But now you can't really use your whip unless you describe how that works.
Because it's right up on me?
Yeah. It's more like a Yeah, okay.
Can I just whip it and do like a garrote?
So how does the neural whip affect yourself then? I mean, it does have some stunning properties.
That's
I assume.
true.
Do you have insulated gloves that you could use? Anything like that?
I haven't said that I have them.
We can
But you
establish
haven't not said that you have.
it.
Or I could just bash it with try to bash it in the face with the
With the
handle.
pommel. Yeah.
Pommel, yeah.
That would be like an improvised weapon. I would say it's probably like it's a D3 damage then.
Okay, that's fine. And I won't get the neural whip effect, but we'll
No.
try. So under a 15 and 15 or under and over a 2.
Yes.
And this time I get a 1, which
Which is also a fumble. Let's see.
in
haven't-
5 d20 rolls I've rolled 2 1s.
That is crazy. Let's see. It's probably something bad happening. Just a second. Uh, 16. The attack roll. Yeah, it's
You wanting me to roll or?
no. Hold on a second. Please. Oh,
I think
no.
Horst is still trying to figure out how bad it is.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's not that bad. A 20 is a fumble. A 1 is not.
Oh yeah, I guess we're rolling low.
Yeah. So I think that so you hit it with a pommel, and you definitely make contact, but it is a metallic part of the segments of the worm where the pommel just glides off. And Nida, what do you do?
This worm is really pissing me off. I'm going to try to whack it with my stick of fused pistols again.
Yeah, trying not to hit net, obviously.
Obviously.
And is it more like a mad, like pissed off attack, or is it like a super precise?
My rifle is precise. This thing is not.
It's also, it has these sharp angles and things. sticking
Yeah,
out.
this is like swinging a baseball bat with nails through it at something.
Okay, what is Vigo doing?
That's a good point. What is Vigo
yeah,
doing? Is he getting high again?
No, he's doing what you tell him to do. He's your henchman.
I mean, didn't we hire him as a bodyguard?
Against
Vigo,
Joe.
get on this thing.
Shouldn't he be here too?
Yeah, he's standing there, ready to strike.
Get some blood on your boots, for God's sake.
Okay, Nida, make it roll.
Kill it! Kill it!
That's a 1.
Jesus, guys. And
I'm not even using Dennis's dice.
I know. So I think Vigo has slipped something in his flute and blows now. And let's see. He's a level 1, so he has to roll under 11. And he actually does hit. It's a dart, which makes a d4. 1 damage. So there's a dart sticking inside the creature, and then the creature attacks, and obviously it's still attached to Ned's leg. And it's a 3. You're muted, I think. maybe something you do with
Headset
your.
mode?
Oh yeah. No.
Did you mute it on the headset?
Yes. Okay. Now you're
Okay.
back.
Okay, I did not intentionally do that. I must have hit it somehow. My armor's only 2, so a 3 will hit.
Yes. So 3 damage.
That puts me at 0.
What happens when the character reaches 0? I think you have a. Let's see. Have a roll.
Isn't that knocked out and then bleeding out in the absence of treatment?
Yeah, it's bleeding out. And then you have to patch him up, or them. Let's see. Re-attack, special combat, conditions. Damage and death. If an attack reduces her HP to 0, she's knocked out until she has positive HP again. If an attack gives her negative HP, she's knocked out and must save or die. Okay, so you are actually just knocked out. But the worm is still attached to your leg and will gnaw again next round. So Nida, you have to make the roll, the initiative.
I'm sure this will go spectacularly.
Obviously. Killed by
All
a
right.
single worm.
Fine. I'm going to roll a different dice. And I need to roll under my initiative or under my deck.
No,
Right?
you roll a straight d6.
Okay, straight D6. That is a 3.
That's a 3, and an 8 is -1, so it's a 2 actually. And the
Wait,
worm.
8? My dex is 11.
Oh, is it? I'm sorry. And 11 is just plus or -0, so it's a 3. And then reroll selected. Oh, the worm has a 4. So by that time, it looks ugly. Like your leg is a bloody mess, and the worm now tries to actually sever the leg.
Well, I obviously can't do anything, so
That's true. It's just for dramatic effect. Oh, wow!
How many worms are there?
1.
Okay.
I rolled a 1, so I rolled under your AC, which means somehow it bits on. It's now chewing probably. What kind of armor do you wear? Is it Dryland weave?
ballistic linen.
Yeah. So now the linen is actually holding together your leg, and the worm is chewing on it. And it's Nida's and Vigo's turn.
Okay, here's a quick question. And I feel ridiculous for not thinking of this 3 rounds ago.
Mm-hmm.
Ajax is attuned to me right now.
Yes. It does everything you do. You tell him to do.
Ajax, knock this worm out. Hit it with your narcotic darts, please.
How do you so what do you point out to make Ajax be successful? Is it like pointing out a weak spot that would be wisdom, or being your charming self that would be charisma? I mean, Ajax is also a cat, and cats are notoriously moody and.
I think that what I do is I point out that if Ajax can get a dart in the worm's mouth, that the worm doesn't have a whole lot of hit points. And it'll be, if this thing stands still, it's going to be a matter of just like hitting it once with this staff of mine.
Awesome. So
would that let me roll with con? Since I'm pointing out the
yeah.
worm is relatively weak. Okay.
Okay.
So I need to roll under con, correct?
Or equal.
Under or equal to con. We're not dealing with armor class.
Yeah, over the 2 of the
Over 2, under 13. Got it. That's a 6.
Yeah, probably armor class doesn't really come into play, but yeah, a 6 hits anyways. So Ajax, yeah, I mean, neither describe how she gets, how he gets his tail, into the mouth of the worm.
It's Ajax is a cat. If you've ever lived with a cat, you know that like half of what they do is get their tails into your mouth. Like that's just what they do. I mean, if you're lucky, they don't do it while you're trying to eat something, but they just walk past and brush your face with their tails. And the worm's so busy chewing on Nat that Ajax kind of just like lets the little tail with the narcotic spikes on it just gently slide in there as the worm's going om nom 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 nom.
So it's almost nonchalantly.
Well, of course, Ajax is a cat. I mean, the only thing cats get excited about is laser pointers and catnip. So yeah, the worm just like chomps down on Ajax's tail, and narcotic darts hit and take effect almost immediately. So Ajax's tail actual doesn't get chomped, but
Yeah,
that worm is just out.
Yeah, the mouth. The worm stops chewing and like in the motion when it was trying to get out of the weave, and freezes and twitches for some time, and is obviously unable to do anything else. And so Vigo rushes in and stumps on it with his feet.
Vigo, stabilize Nat. This thing, the worm's out. We need to stabilize Nat.
I'm yeah, I'm more for the causing death. Not, I can speak to Ned when he's dead, but
oh Jesus
stabilized.
Christ! Great. So let me check my character sheet here. I have curative snake oil is only for curing poisons, correct?
Yeah.
And then hang on a second here. Venom, bugs, parasites, etc.
So
VC healing lotion.
Oh, VC healing lotion. Let's have a look.
Restores 2d6 life or 1 physical stat point.
Oh wow. That seems to do the trick. So you apply the lotion on the. I mean, you would probably first clean the wound. I don't know, bandage, and then apply the lotion.
That seems fitting.
When you do so, you see that there is like parts of what would it be? Like electrodes or something. There's definitely something in the wound that is not
flesh.
That's not flesh.
All right, I'm gonna chop that stuff out as best I can while Nat's unconscious. You know, I'm not a monster. I'm not gonna like cut on Nat while they're awake.
Yeah.
But I'm not a surgeon. I am not a medic. Of the many things I am, a healer is not one of them. So it's going to leave an ugly, ugly scar. Do I need to roll to make sure I got all of the Vohm infection out, or?
I mean, you're using you're rinsing the wound with water, I assume. It will be up to Ned's saving throw to make sure that everything is fine. I mean, you could make a trained task roll to make sure, but I don't think that you can do it because you don't have anything that would apply.
Sure, I do. My vocation. I'm a survivor.
That is true, but you don't. Let's see. So, trained task roll if it's next to your stat, it would be with advantage. So it's just a straight. I want to say wisdom roll probably.
Okay.
And that would mean that Ned doesn't have to make the saving throw.
All right. Well, let me delete the healing lotion from my pack first. And then, so I'm rolling D20 under 6, correct?
Is that your wisdom?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Your wisdom's worse than mine?
Listen.
Wow.
I shoot things and I stab things. And I apparently sketched in a book that has travelogue information. I'm not real good at the whole knowing when not to rush into something part of this. Smart enough to know what to do when I do, but not that bright when it comes to not getting into it in the first place.
So equal or under?
Equal or under to 6. That's a 1.
Yes. Nice. So you're about to bind the wound when you find the last diode or something sticking, like hiding under a muscle or something. Cool. And then have you gotten your the HP back from the healing lotion, Ned?
You're muted.
You're muted.
That's a 2d6, you said?
2d6.
Snake eyes, probably.
Yeah, watch me. A 1 and a 5.
Nice. So you're back at maximum health when you wake up.
Right. Now I have to reduce a stat, it says?
No. Is it? No, it says that you can also heal 1 stat damage point.
Oh, or when stat damage.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep, that's got me back to 6 then.
All right. And after this exciting fight, you will approach the
worm's dead, right?
The worm is dead. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Also, I wanted to tell you in the first session, when you fought the albino rat, it had this telescopic eyes. Mm-hmm. These things are normally worth something. Like, maybe not like Vohm worms, but if you kill a monster and it has obvious like cybernetic parts, you can always cut them out and try to sell them on the black market.
Sweet. So what did we get from this? What did we get from the worm?
Yeah, well, I think the worm is in a very good condition because Ajax killed it. So you can take the worm itself as a trophy first, and then maybe if you find somebody who can extract parts, then maybe you can sell it.
All right, so there's the worm as trophy.
Yeah.
And then do I also have that telescopic eye or no?
Yeah, we can just say that you. I've told you in the first session.
Okay. Retcon half second. Okay.
So yeah, when you approach, the first thing you see is this impeccable white glowing porcelain, and it's a porcelain building that is a bit oddly shaped, and it sits atop like a rocky hill. And when you come closer, you see what looks like maybe towers or statues, 8 of them surrounding the citadel in a pretty wide circle. And if you come even closer, you can see that these towers have like pentagrams on them, and in the middle of the pentagram is like a red glowing crystal, maybe. You can see that there are like lakes to both sides of the citadel. You can actually, if you look at the character keeper on the map, I've added a top-down view after the second map. So there's an orchard to the south of the citadel, and then if you come even closer, you can see that the tower with this with a pentagram on it, the pentagram and the crystal can swivel, can turn on some kind of mechanism, and it does follow you when you approach. What you also see is that there's at this moment, when you approach the city, there's a gigantic caravan leaving, but it's taking the high road and the low road and the high. So if you want to speak to them, you would have to cut them off. Otherwise, what do you do? Do you travel further in the direction of the citadel?
Well, that's where we're going, right?
Yeah.
So may as well just keep going.
Good. And then when you're inside this ring of towers or statues, and you pass the orchard, and the orchard has this brightly. I mean, it's springtime, so it would be a cherry blossom. It has this brightly colored leaves on it. And yeah, like before you, there's a row of houses. So on the left side, you can see next to the left leg, there are 2 big buildings surrounded by smaller buildings, and then in front of you there's a line of houses, and the road to the citadel itself snakes around it. To directly at the hill where the citadel is upon, there are brightly colored houses in different colors, and they are cut into or dug out of the hill itself. There are a lot of goods and wares that are transported from these 2 houses to the left, up the ramp and towards the porcelain citadel. And so I think what we should do is I tell you again what your options are. I mean, you can look around, obviously. You can you can stay in the porcelain citadel, or just move on if you want to. The place is relatively expensive. You can find a place to enjoy yourself. So there are different etablissements where you can go to. If you want to, I can present them a little bit to you, or given that we have actually now played for over 3 hours, we can also end the session when you approach the porcelain citadel. What do you think?
Well, here's the thing. Porcelain, we're carrying these crystals, and the first place we can get the 3 times price on them is the Grass Colossus, which is
Yes.
after the Porcelain Citadel comes the Trail of Vomish Dreams, then the Grass Colossus. So it's still 2 steps away. So just skipping the Porcelain Citadel doesn't help us get any further.
That is true.
Plus, we need to resupply. I want to make sure we have at least. It'd be nice if everybody in the party had healing lotion on them.
Yeah.
Because it came in a little handy just now.
Just a little. But
so, also, is there any way to sell that worm trophy here? What kind of money would we be looking at for getting it?
We can also try.
Probably not much. Yeah, go on.
Let's say we can also try selling our saffron again and our synthahol.
So you would have to first check in somewhere. So there are different possibilities. There's the House of Many Colors. That these are the buildings that are described of being from different colored porcelain, and they are run by Rainbow Lenders. And for example, there's what's his name? Lazaro Romero, who is an alchemist who might be interested in the cadaver of the Vomish worm. But that wouldn't. So if you stay at the Rainbow Lenders or in any of the less established places, you wouldn't be able to celebrate, to carouse in game terms.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to do that, you would have to get the favor of the princess. And the other thing that you can do if you don't want to carouse, you just want to stay somewhere, you can visit like interesting etablissements. So there's Your Life Burns Faster in this house, which is a house of radical revolutionaries. There's the Black House, which is like a party house of the princess, but it's very, very exclusive. And then there's the unbowed cardinal, which is like a nomad, like Steplander barbecue place. And you could go there for a week, and it would cost you a certain amount of money, but then you also could make contacts, get XP, and have other benefits.
Well, I think we have to sell some stuff to get some money at this point.
Yeah. But you have to check in somewhere in order to do all the things. So the I think the House of the Many Colors is something like 3 cash for, let's see. Yeah, 3 cash for the whole week, which is not much. Nida, is that okay?
It's fine by me.
Okay, and once you're settled in, you can now, we would have to go to the whole process of, do you want to schmooze someone to get advantages? Like you want to identify a buyer, I think, Ned?
Yes.
Arrange Yeah, arrange a meeting somewhere, pay the local prices, and then haggle.
Right.
So what do you want to sell? The saffron.
We want to sell the saffron or the synthahol.
Oh yeah. Or both.
Or both, yeah. May as well sell both.
Is the worm something that could be considered a trade good?
No, it's not a trade good. That is
Okay.
straight up something that you could sell for cash.
But I'm not going to get a good price for it here.
Yeah, well, you would get a price because there's an alchemist who might have use for it. I mean, you could wait for the grass colossus, and then maybe it could be used for some kind of as a fetish or something.
Well, while Nat is finding a buyer, I know that the first thing I want to track down a Legion of the Farsight pigeon coop, and see if there's any messages waiting. And I also want to send all of the stuff back to the travelogue.
Cool.
Because there's been quite a bit of information that we've collected since.
Yeah. So for your travel log, you just have to, there's the two houses. They are called the two sarais, and they are caravanseries. One is owned by the satraps, and the others is owned by the porcelain princes. And you would have to talk to them and like a going out caravan that goes back to the Violet City, and just hand the travel log to them.
Mm-hmm.
And for the Legion of the Farsight, I think that well, you can see that on top of one of the houses of many colors, there is what is it called? A pigeon coop?
Pigeon coop.
Yeah. And you can identify by how ugly the pigeons are that they are from the Legion.
I have a sneaking suspicion that it's on the roof of, what's the name of that? Your Life Burns Faster in this house?
Your life burns faster is actually outside of the ring of these golems, on the lake shore.
Okay.
So it's a different house.
Oh, okay. My bad.
Yeah, well, it was a good idea, but I think the revolutionaries are somewhat different than you might think.
Okay. It made sense to me to have like this, to have the coop there, community aid, community protection, self-organization.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I at least want to say, so what's up? You get the information about the Redlanders? Got anything else for me?
Yeah, I think
get that sent off to them.
I think I have a bad connection, or maybe you have. I don't know. I didn't get the last thing. Can you repeat this?
Oh, sure. I said I was just sending the information about the Redlanders, making sure they got the information about the Redlanders, and seeing if they had anything new for me.
Yeah. I think in the you find a message that is directly directed to you. It has your name on it, and it says the Redlanders are still on the loose. We need to act fast before worse things happen.
I'm going to send a message back saying, I couldn't agree more. How many people are you going to send me to help deal with this issue? Because there's 12 of them and one of me.
And then you can also sell the worm if you want at the alchemy place.
Sure.
And that is
Let's take a look at that.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool shop. It's you know sandworms from the Yellowlands, mystical creatures that are gigantic, and one of them, you don't know how, ended up buried inside the side of the citadel. It is cemented in, hollowed out, and inside this tunnel is like a VEC garage. So it's a garage full of golem parts, and auto wagons that are taken apart, and the owner of the shop is a silver-haired Redlander, and he has he wears an overall, and he greets you with a firm handshake. Oh, a Yellowlander. We don't see your kind too often.
No one does.
How can I help you?
Well, got something you might be interested in.
Let's have a look. Maybe I can repair it.
Oh, please don't. And I basically drop the worm out of a sack.
And he picks it up, takes it on his desk, looks through like what's it called? Like a looking glass, maybe?
Magnifying glass.
Yeah, magnifying glass that is attached to the desk. And
there's also the loose parts that I cut out of Nat's leg.
Well, I mean, they're probably infected. I'd say 2 cash.
2?
And I'm being helpful here because you've been through a lot.
It's better than nothing. Plus, I don't want to drag this thing around anymore. It's dead weight.
Do you show him the telescope thing as well?
Yes, I do.
And now his his eyes light up a little bit. Oh, this on the other hand, that looks pristine.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Pulled it off a rat in the Violet City.
Huh.
They were fighting rats with telescopic eyes.
Well, the Violet City. Enough is said, I guess. Where are they? I think it was 50. Yeah. 50 cash.
All right. So I'll add 52 coins to my inventory, and I do want to sketch this place, kind of jot it down as like, a repair shop for a wide variety of things. I'll send that back to the travelogue.
Cool. And Ned, which of the places do you want to meet your trading partner? So there's Your Life Burns Faster, which is a revolutionary place. There's the Nomad Barbecue place, and there's the Black House, which is an exclusive Porcelain Princess etablissement. But you could also go to the Two Sarais, the Satraps, and the Porcelain Princess.
Well, obviously we go to the Black House.
Nice.
Of course we do.
So outside there are actually 2 automatic porcelain walkers. So they are porcelain walkers where nobody is sitting in them, and there's just like a barrel with some kind of bubbling soup and tubes that lead from the barrel to the unit where you move the thing. And there's some kind of Metro D standing in the entrance. Actually, I think it's a porcelain prince. So they wear there are two of them. They wear like what? Let me just grab a porcelain prince. Hold on. 1 second. I think it's a black lacquered mask. 1 second. Yes. So the two of them, they speak in unison, but they have different voices. And they have this, as I said, black lacquered mask. And they say, welcome to the Black House. We are honored to see a representative of the Cockflower Church so far out. Please come in. And they charge They charge 10 cash for the entrance.
Okay.
And inside, so net. So this is a place of debauchery. So there is definitely like a sexual element to it. Drugs, but it's all high class. So I think that the whole place is black and glass. I think that there are like cages where naked men and women are moving to the music. You can hear shouts of pleasure and excitement from the cellar, and there are tables on different heights and waiters moving around, and that there are porcelain princes and satraps and rainbow lenders lounging. And I mean, you have an eye for potential trading partners. Maybe you move around, but you do find another porcelain prince, again with a black mask. And maybe when you pass, you can hear them talking about a business opportunity.
I could not help but hear your discussion. It seems the prophet has led me to you. Perhaps I can join your conversation and contribute. We have come from the Violet City.
And again, so let's say it's three of them, three porcelain princes with his black masks, and again, they speak in unison. They even make the same gestures as if operated by a puppeteer. And they say in three different voices, please sit down. What can you offer us. And when you want to strike a deal, you need to, to buy them drinks, let's say.
Right.
And this is the most expensive place that you could have possibly find.
Of course.
So, if you would be a daily visitor for the week, that's 3,000 cash. So I assume that like champagne and these things do cost, let's say, 20 cash.
Okay. Make a note of that. But anyway, okay. Wrong. Here we go. Because we're actually basically out of money at this point, so.
Yeah, but the prophet says it probably the best, that you have to spend money to earn money, isn't it?
Yes.
So there's some kind of exclusive drink served that you pay for.
Mhm.
What do you want to sell them?
Well, I was going to tell them about the saffron and about the synthahol. A place like this may actually like the synthahol.
Yes. And so we're starting the haggling.
Mm-hmm.
Favorite part. Let's see. So you roll. Spend 1 hour. Bloody. I would say. Not sure what you roll. Do you know what we rolled the last time?
I probably should remember, but don't.
Yeah, I should as well.
Honors, misfortune, inventory.
Deal making and haggle table, but it doesn't say. Oh, make a relevant test. Okay, I think in your, if you, yeah, well, it depends on how do you want to convince them. It could be intelligence, just appeal to the superiority of your product. Could be charisma when you're really charming. Wisdom if you see them doing something that you can exploit.
Sorry. Yeah, my wisdom's not going to help. My charisma's still down 1 at 11. Intelligence is 12. I am the lawyer, if that helps any at all.
Not for these kinds of roles.
Okay.
Unfortunately. So I would assume, I mean, it doesn't matter if it's intelligence or charisma, I think.
I'll go with intelligence then, because it's 1 better right now.
Yeah.
That's a D20 again?
Yeah, but now you roll plus the modifier. So it's high is good, low is bad.
Right, but my intelligence of 12 doesn't have a modifier.
No, it's 0.
So I rolled a 10.
A 10 is... Jesus. Turns out they don't really need it, but if you're desperate...
Well, we got to get money from somewhere.
Yeah, it's half the market price.
Right.
And the market price for the synthahol is 50, so it would be 100. And the saffron, it would be 50 then. And saffron is
Total.
1,000. That would be 500.
Okay, so we may as, like I said, we need
You know,
some money.
we can loan the caravan money out of our personal pockets instead of losing
Right.
that much on it. We just
Well,
need to buy supplies.
I'm kind of out of money at this point, is the problem.
I can loan the caravan some money.
So what do you want to do?
Well, I should have some money coming in from the travelogue. And we only need to buy supplies. So I think that since this is the state of things here, we just get the hell out of Dodge.
Okay.
You know, I'll jot down notes and sketch things and talk about the repair shop and that sort of thing when I send
Okay.
it back. But
Just make sure you get your money back first when it comes back.
I mean, at this point, I'd say if it comes back as opposed to when. But
Well, look, I won't be here next week. Somebody else can roll better than me.
we're going to lose our lawyer. And it's actually isn't the 11th, the next one, Horst?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Okay, the next one, but
Well, let me ask you this. Since this is your last session for a little bit, is there something that you want to do? Like, is there a moment that you want to have for your character or something like that?
no, I mean, Nat's whole thing was out here trying to basically get field experience. And field
You have
experience
certainly gotten that.
and you know, can come good and bad. You know, he's been having a run of bad luck, or they've been having a good run of bad luck. Maybe the prophet is trying to teach Nat humility. You know, Nat's learning that this isn't as maybe they're not as good as they think they are.
So maybe if you don't want to make the deal, you don't want to make the deal. You just cut the 20 cash as losses.
Yep.
And maybe we end the session then. Ned is returning to the Citadel proper, and you passed a green porcelain house or workshop, and it has the cockflower over the entrance. And when you peek inside, you can see that there are a lot of workers and servants kneeling in front of the altar, and the room, like it's a tiny church, but it's proper full, and you can see that they spend the money that they don't have on, candles that they are allowed to burn. The priest is sitting on a golden chair. And I don't know, what would be the last scene of Ned in that church? Are you kneeling as well and praying? Are you going to the priest? What would it be?
Nat will go in and they will kneel before the altar themselves and try to, because they've had a bad run of bad luck, and they are trying to understand how they have misunderstood the words of the prophet, and they will sit there and think on the holy spreadsheets and try to determine what they're supposed to do.
Yeah, and then there's a big
ask for guidance.
There's a big spreadsheet behind the altar, and it goes just up and up and up, obviously.
Of course.
What is the last that we see from Nida?
I'm sitting on a roof. And Ajax is probably curled up next to me, flipping his tail in his sleep. And I'm just kind of turning the crystal snail over in my hands, looking at it.
Awesome. And we also have a last scene from Satrap 88. Dan was so friendly to stay with us. And I think it is back in the Violet City. There's a suit and it hangs limply in this 70s lounge. And somebody is moving like a heavy, big crystal next to the suit. And how is the information transferred from crystal to suit?
I'm picturing that the crystal has some metallic devices and sort of ports and things on it, and the caretaker kind of unscrews one of the fingers on the suit and plugs it in. And as the information starts to flow into the suit, they put the helmet on and lock it in place. And it's a completely different set of colors, and the suit looks completely different, even shaped a little bit differently. And Satrap 88, when they become fully formed, starts to wonder aloud to nobody about whether they have a soul or not.
Awesome. Thank you very much.